Oh my god, hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Here I talk about I just do like vlogs and shit like that basically on this channel. But today we are talking about the Queen of the Universe, Taylor Swift, and my predictions for the Tortured Poets department. This channel, I am definitely trying to make more of a passion project channel. So one of my biggest passions, and has been my biggest passions for a long time, is Taylor Swift. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more Swiftie content here, along with loads of just other things I like. Basically, this will be like all the junk that floats around my brain I'm going to put on this channel. I do have a second channel, if you don't already know. On that channel, I talk about like witchcraft, wellness, anything kind of mystical, from like astrology to mythology, weird stories, conspiracy theories, all things like that. On that channel, I have also just now posted a deep dive into Taylor Swift's big three, her sun, moon and rising sign. So if you want to watch that video after this video, I will leave the link in the description. And other than that, let's just get into the Tortured Poets department, because I have a lot to say. So if you don't know, Taylor Swift just recently announced at the Grammys that she would be releasing her brand new album titled The Tortured Poets Department on the 19th of April of this year. I've already put in to have those like that day and the day after, like off work, because I'm mentally unwell. Like, I just simply cannot be in work when I need to be listening to Taylor Swift all day. Okay, I need to be in my room crying, right? I need that time off work. At the Grammys that night, she won 2 awards. So she won Best Pop Vocal Album and Album of the Year for Midnights. And she actually broke a record, because she's the first artist in history to win Album of the Year 4 times. The maximum it had been done was 3 times. And she won it for Fearless, 1989, Folklore, and then Midnights. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. I do have notes, because originally I wasn't sure if I was actually going to make a video about this. I have recently started a journaling practice called commonplacing, where basically you just write about all your special interests, and this was one of my special interests, and I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to make a video about it as well. Why the hell not? So then Taylor uploaded to Instagram what is going to be the cover of the Tortured Poets department, along with this. I shall read. And so I enter into evidence, my tarnished coat of arms, my muses acquired like bruises, my talismans and charms, the tick, tick, tick of love bombs, my veins of pitch black ink, all's fair in love and poetry. Sincerely, the chairman of the Tortured Poets department. Can we start off just by talking about the name, the Tortured Poets department? The Tortured Poets department. What are we nicknaming it? Are we nicknaming it like the TPD, the Torchy Poets, the Tory Poets? I don't know, maybe I will just call it the Tortured Poets department. It doesn't really need a nickname right now. Maybe Tortured Poets is fine. I mean, I feel like I don't really need to be any more weird about it than I already have been. So, interesting. One, because my brain continuously wants to say the Dead Poets Society. Don't know why it wants to do that, but it literally just keeps wanting to say that all the time. So let's talk about the little poem that she posted with it as well. So I am going to assume that it is a poem and not lyrics. However, my theory is, if it is a poem, it is going to be from the manuscript, which I will talk about when I kind of go through my little predictions for the track list. Let's kind of take this line by line. And so I enter into evidence. So this like evidence and like crime is kind of like, I feel like going to be like a little bit of like a running theme through this album a little bit here. And I feel like, is she here kind of telling us that this is like evidence that she's providing? She's like giving us like receipts. She's like, here's some shit and here's like all the receipts, and I am here to show you them. My tarnished coat of arms. See, I would take that to mean like, I mean, like your coat of arms is like personal to you. It's like her tarnished name, her tarnished reputation. Is it like a little throwback to Reputation era then? Because of course we did all think that we were going to be getting Reputation next, and then she dropped this. So is this like a sister album to Reputation? My tarnished coat of arms. Yeah. My muses acquired like bruises. So for me, this is like her muses, the people who she's like writing these songs about and who she's dedicated her songs to and who have like become her muses. They have all been acquired through pain. So I'm going to assume that this is like a little bit of like a heartbreak album as well. My talismans and charms. So my talismans and charms, so things that like she wears perhaps for protection or for luck, or she could be like referencing her albums here as well maybe. And then this bit here, the tick 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 of love bombs. So I feel like you could see this in both ways. You could see it in like the tick 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 of love bombs as in like relationships are like destined to end and like love will eventually like reach a point where it's like over, or you can look at it in the fact of like being love bombed, you know, like as like a manipulation tactic. When somebody love bombs you, the rose tinted glasses from that love bombing can only last so long. That is like a potential here. My veins of pitch black ink. This I feel like is clearly just referencing like her like lyricism and how like the words literally just like flow from her veins. Like she's almost like, it's almost just like part of her now as much as her blood is part of her to write these lyrics. I think that's kind of what that is. And then all's fair in love and poetry. I feel like she's going to be fucking, I feel like she's going to fucking spill some tea, and I feel like the whole world is going to literally die. Sincerely, the chairman of the Tortured Poets Department. Okay, some thoughts and theories before we get into breaking down the track list song by song. So first of all, I think this album is going to be depressing as shit, and I think it is going to like set my mental health recovery back years, but I do think it's going to be like incredibly worth it. I feel like I am going to listen to this album on repeat, and I am going to purposely like lull myself into a deeper state of depression than I already am, just because if mother is giving us this food, then I will eat. So I do also believe that this will be a Joe Alwyn album, if I dare be so bold as to say. The reason I think that is because, well, Taylor, as we know, she kind of writes along the timeline of her own life, and she writes her songs almost like a biography of what has been going on for her at that time. I'm sure she will definitely cover other themes in here as well, but I feel like it's going to be a true heartbreak breakup album. Midnights, I think, was like the processing of a breakup. So that was like, or the processing of a breakdown of a relationship. So not really like a breakup. It was like she was looking back through all of these sleepless nights in her life, trying to pick apart where she had gone wrong and why her current relationship was like ending and crumbling. And I think this is going to be the relationship has ended. Also, can I just say, I feel like I knew on first listen that Midnights was like, I feel like I knew she was like not okay, and everybody was like, woo, everything's fine, Taylor and Joe is great, and I was like, I don't know if they are. Also, in Midnights, if we ignore the like Snow on the Beach, more Lana, and then the Karma with Ice Spice, because they were just kind of like add-ons, they weren't new songs. The last song that she leaves us with is You're Losing Me, and then I think that the Tortured Poets Department is going to be You Already Lost Me, fucker. Also, Joe did say a while ago that he was in a group chat called the Tortured Man's Club. So could this album be like a reference to that in a way, or is it purely coincidence? feel like I've been a Taylor Swift fan long enough to know that coincidence isn't really in her vocabulary. Like, the whole world literally does flow to her will and order. Like, nothing is a coincidence. She is literally God and Jesus and the Virgin Mary all at the one time. I don't believe there's anything as a coincidence. And then the album cover itself is black and white with Taylor's body, and she's kind of lying on a bed with like her arms over herself, almost like, so it's quite simplistic, it's almost quite intimate in a way, but like a little bit guarded perhaps, just with the placement of her hands over her chest and over her tummy. So I feel like I'm expecting this album to be quite raw and quite tender is what I'm kind of getting from the whole aesthetic of it. Vulnerable, I feel like vulnerable is the word I'm looking for. I think it's going to be a very vulnerable album. So the back cover of the album has like a side view of Taylor, and she kind of has like her head in like her hand, and almost like, for me it looks like, you know, the point in like an argument when you're just so done and you're just so exhausted and you're like, oh my god, like actually, like please fucking stop talking right now. Like, I actually, like, I'm so mentally fucking drained. I think that's how she looks in that album cover, and I've also seen people draw parallels to the Tortured Poets album cover and then the Lover album cover, which was of course like another like lot of Joe references in this album when they were really happy in their relationship, and like the poses are like relatively similar, but in this one she's kind of like pushing her hair back a bit and she's like looking forward and she looks really like hopeful, and then this one she's kind of like more in on herself as well, so that's quite interesting. And again, I don't really think there's ever coincidences with Taylor. I feel like everything she does is very specific and for a reason, and she knows that the fans are going to be like little goblins, like what's going on. So I feel like she did it for a reason. And then on the back cover it also says the words, "I love you, it's ruining my life. We have all been there before." I can tell you that right now. So let's go through the track list and I will give you my probably wrong predictions. Oh, leave your predictions as well in the comments, please. I would love to chat about this. So the first one is Fortnight featuring Post Malone. So this is interesting because she's never opened an album with a feature before, and I think, again, this will have some significance. There will be a reason why she's choosing this as her album opener. Post Malone is very like soft boy, sad boy energy, so I'm wondering if that'll be like the vibe of like the whole album, almost like kind of more like chill paced, quite slow, quite like vibey type music. I also noticed as well the word fortnight is interesting because I don't think that fortnight is really a thing that's often said in like America, so I can't see that being like a normal part of Taylor's language. I feel like saying like a fortnight is like a very like British thing. I'm not sure if I ever hear Americans talking about like a fortnight. So that's interesting as well, and that actually led me into thinking, I wonder if it starts with Post Malone because this is from the male's perspective perhaps, so maybe this is a song more on something the male has said, and maybe the male would be like a British man, don't know who that could be. Like, yeah, that's kind of like what my prediction maybe is. Maybe it's like something that Joe has says to her about a fortnight, or it's like his words that's going to be like in like this first song, like it's only been a fortnight and you're out with your friends looking fucking gorgeous and I still can't get a job, rah rah rah. That could literally be the exact lyrics that I just guessed. Also, I just need to say, I have no issue with Joe. I do not know this man. Relationships are complex. All I know is that if lyrics in this come out that he has been mean to Taylor, then yeah, I do actually have a problem with them. And you know what? I'm allowed to joke about them all I want because I am a feminist, and being a feminist means disliking whoever Taylor Swift tells you to dislike. So yeah, what if I don't like Joe Alwyn? What are you actually going to do about it? You going to call me out? You going to call out feminism? Number 2, the Tortured Poets Department. Obviously the title track, but what does it mean? Like, I literally have no clue. I feel like the word like department is throwing me to think again more like police department. The department seems more like clinical's the wrong word. Like I can't actually think of like the actual word that I'm looking for. But the Tortured Poets Department, it's like classified like sections, like you go, oh, it's over in like the fiction department, or it's in the biology department or something like that. It feels, I don't know, something about the wording of it, I'm like, it's given like police vibes, and there is also other like references like throughout it, like I already said about like the evidence and stuff as well. And then she also has another track on this called Fresh Out the Slammer. So like, is she putting someone in prison? Like, I say like put them away for life. That would be my suggestion. Like, did they give Taylor Swift like a mean look? Like, did they like say one of her songs was like not good and like they had to be put in prison? Like, this is what I'm wondering. I wonder if this will be like a little bit like Midnight's in the way that it's like talking about like combing through a relationship, maybe not about past relationships, but maybe about like her current relationship or the relationship that's literally just ended, and she's like almost like combing through all the things that went wrong, and it's like of the vibe of like, I can't leave the Tortured Poets Department, or something along those lines. That would be my main guess right now. Number 3, my boy only breaks his favourite toys. For me, this is literally just given like, boys will be boys. He only hits you because he likes you. I only hurt you because I love you. And I think that's possibly like the vibe of this song. Maybe it's like her like being delulu on herself and being like, he only does this because he loves me so much, or because the relationship means so much to him, that's why he like pushes me away, or yeah, I feel like I can't really think of another way that this song could be other than like the type of vibe of like boys will be boys. However, like, she literally surprises me like time and time and time again, so I honestly like just cannot say. Like, if you had asked me about like what like Cardigan would have been about, like when I just first seen that track list, I'd have been like, I don't know, like, I'm so cold, I'm putting on like Euro Cardigan or something like that. I don't know, like, my mind is just like inferior to Taylor's, so it's hard to say. Number 4, Down Bad. So Down Bad is, in my opinion, normally like a positive thing. Like when you're like so into someone, or you're like so horny for someone that you're like down bad because like you're like making a fool out of yourself because like you're being like, you're just down bad. So maybe this could be more of like a positive one about kind of like exiting a relationship and then being like down bad for Travis. Maybe she's like, maybe Travis is down bad for her. I don't know, it could definitely like be that vibe. That would be like exciting. And it could also be maybe like, I was so down bad that like I didn't see all the shit that was going on and like didn't see things for how they were, like, and then I took off my rose tinted glasses. What I think about this as well is like, it's quite modern language, down bad. Like if I asked my mum like what does down bad mean, like she probably wouldn't know, or she'd be like, something that you say to the dog when it's like mooching for food, like down bad. Like, I don't know, like I feel like it is quite like modern like verbiage to use, and for that reason it kind of gives me the same type of energy as like hits different. So I wonder if Down Bad is going to be more of like a kind of like upbeat song, or it might be like Hits Different where the lyrics are quite sad but it's quite like boppy and poppy. Number 5, So Long London. This song is going to murder me. Like, I already know it. Like, I literally like don't even need to hear it. I am already in floods of tears. Track 5 songs are notorious for being really like personal and raw for Taylor. This one's obviously going to be like no different. Like, of course we all know that Joe was her London boy, and I feel like the transition from this like fun glitter gel pen song of London boy to the potential heartbreak, which is So Long London, is just going to be simply too much for a girl to bear. So just an observation of mine, track 5 of Midnights was your On Your Own Kid, and obviously track 5 of this is So Long London. So in your On Your Own Kid, Taylor talks about how throughout like her, she kind of like glimpses through different parts of her life and different things that she's been through, and how at the end of the day, like, she's always been on her own and it doesn't matter because like she can face it and she can handle it, like on her own, you always have been. Like, that's like the vibe of the song, okay? I'm sure I literally did not need to explain that to you because you live on the planet Earth, and if you're watching this video, I am going to assume that you're well versed on Taylor Swift, so I'm just going to shut up and get to my point now. So the line on that, I see the great escape, so long Daisy May, that really stuck out to me because of like So Long London, and I was like, oh, she has used that like so long, like farewell, it's like so long in like a song before, and then I thought of that lyric and I was like, how interesting that she's talking about the great escape, because isn't that like escaping from a prison? So The Great Escape is a 1963 movie about a group of imprisoned Allied soldiers who plot to escape. So is Taylor going to talk about London as her prison, or maybe her relationship as her prison? Also, it is interesting to note that throughout her and Joe's relationship, she's continued to use different war references. For instance, in like the Great War, obviously you're losing me, peace, and then so it would kind of make sense to link it to The Great Escape, which is about escaping imprisonment, and it is also about soldiers as well. So that is quite interesting, or it could literally mean nothing at all. Who knows? Number 6, But Daddy, I Love Him. I really don't know about this one. It could be a little bit of a throwback to You Who Charmed My Dad, with self-effacing jokes, sipping coffee like you're on a late night show, but then he watched me watch The Front Door all night willing you to come, and he says it's supposed to be fun turning 21. Could definitely be a throwback to that, or it could be about a more current situation, i.e. Joseph Alwyn. I was watching Chats and Reacts video about Tortured Poets Department. I fucking love them, by the way. It's like one of my like favourite YouTube channels. Actually, like massive inspiration for me to be like starting doing like videos like this, because their videos bring literally so much joy into my life. Like the other day I was having like the most shit day ever, and I literally like binged them for like pretty much the whole day, just because they make me feel so good. Like anytime I'm sad, I watch their reaction to the 10-minute version of All Too Well, because it just makes me cry, but in a happy way. Anyway, I was watching Chats and Reacts, and they said how they seen someone talking about how But Daddy I Love Him could be a reference to The Little Mermaid, which is like interesting. So if you don't know, there is like a scene where King Triton's like telling Ariel that she's not going to go away with like this human, she's like not to see him anymore, and she's like, but Daddy, I love him. Like, so it could be along the themes of that, especially when you consider that what happened right after Ariel says that line to her dad is she then went away and she sold her voice so that she could be with this man. Like, she gave up her own voice to be with him. So it could definitely be playing into that somehow. And also it is interesting that in 2019 Taylor did dress up as the Little Mermaid for Halloween, I presume and believe. And like we know that Taylor loves to foreshadow even years in advance, and it's Chekhov's mermaid. It is kind of presumed that Joe didn't really like the fame, and he never really spoke about Taylor. He would like pretty much like, I get keeping your relationship personal, like trust me, like I do get it, but I feel like you're still allowed to like say like your partner's name, like you're still allowed to be like seen like together. Like it was almost like a very like cloak and dagger kind of way to be, which I mean, if that's what you want in your relationship, then that's completely fine. And I do think at a point in time it was maybe what Taylor needed after like reputation and stuff like that. I think she probably like needed like that little bit of like seclusion and time away, but I do feel like there was a point where she was like wanting her life back and wanting her fame back and wanting to like live her life and go out for dinner and not be like locked in the house. And even in like the Times Person of the Year interview, when she says like talking about like those years of her life, she was like, yeah, I'll never get that time back. And she wasn't directly saying, oh, I won't get that time that I wasted on Joe Alwyn back, but it can be like presumed that that's like a regret for her almost. Basically, he needed a reality check to remember that he was dating the Taylor Swift. Like, you're dating Taylor Swift. Like, she's the most bejeweled person in the world and she might miss you, but she misses sparkling. Don't put her in the basement. She wants the penthouse of your heart. Number 7, fresh out the slammer. So I feel like this actually could be like potentially like a bejeweled moment, like a first taste of freedom, like a yes, I'm like out the relationship, I'm like free. I kind of wonder how is she going to say the words fresh out the slammer in a song? She might not say it in a song, but I always think it's interesting when you see some of the titles of the songs and you're like, how is she going to fit that in? Because the way that I think that she'll fit it in is never the way that she actually like fits it in. Like Last Great American Dynasty, like if you had given me 1 million guesses what that song would have been about, I would be dead. I don't know if that was the stakes. I don't know if it was like you have 1 million guesses and if you don't get it you're dead, but I would be dead. Or it could also be that she's like feeling lost now that she's got her freedom back. Like, you know, like when you like come out of a relationship and you don't really know who you are just as like one single person anymore because you're so used to being like a we and a couple. She might be talking about that a little bit. I don't know why like the title Fresh Out the Slammer gives me, just along with like the theme of like Tortured Poets Department, gives me the imagery of her like sitting at like a country bar with like a whiskey in her hand, like telling the barman how she's just fresh out the slammer and she's like pouring her heart out to him. And I don't know why. Like I feel like that would be a cool concept. It's probably not the concept, but I feel like for some reason that is like the imagery it gives me. Number 8, Florida with 3 exclamation marks, featuring Florence and the Machine. So I literally have like no idea. Like I do not know. I feel like Florence and the Machine has this like ethereal, almost like ghostly sound, but does often do these kind of like upbeat kind of songs as well. So I think it'll be like a really interesting dynamic to kind of, I actually just have no idea how it's going to sound. No clue. I feel like it could be a sad song with a happy tune. I feel like that's what I'm thinking. And also just to draw some parallels, like in Hits Different, she says, freedom felt like summer then on the coast. Now the sun burns my heart and the sand hurts my feelings. So could Florida be like a little bit of like a reference to like that in a way? Honestly, like I don't know. Number 9, Guilty as Sin. So this is like another crime, evidence, prison-y reference. Is she guilty? Is he guilty? Is somebody innocent until proven guilty? I know it, like when we look back to the Great War, she paints herself as almost this like irrational, like explosive type person who maybe takes like loads of the blame for the shit that went wrong in their relationship. So maybe guilty as sin is a little bit of like realising that it takes two to do that in a relationship, and maybe she was like taking all of the blame and not giving herself like any real credit. Because I fucking love The Great War, and I think like we have all felt like that at a point where like, especially like if you're quite an emotional person or you have been in not so good relationships before, like you can definitely like think that your current relationship maybe is doomed, or maybe you don't have a lot of trust in your current partner because of things that's happened to you in like your past. So like the whole premise of The Great War, like I really get it, and like I really actually do relate to it, but there does have to come a point when you're like, okay, not everything is my fault. Like so this could be like a dive into that, thinking like, yeah, you're guilty of sin, but wait, like, are you? Can I trust my own feelings? Like, I'm not really sure. Like, it could be something to do with that, would be maybe my prediction. Number 10, who's afraid of little old me? I am so dying to know what this one is about. I feel like it's got like a sarcastic tone to it. It's the only way I can imagine that being said, as in like a sarcastic way, like, oh, who's afraid of little old me? Like, or like, yeah, in like a funny or sarcastic way is genuinely the only way that I can think of this being said. It's one of the songs that I think most intrigued by, but have the least clue what's going on. Maybe it's like people being intimidated by her status and how like big she is. Could be something like that. Maybe men feel emasculated around her, or just people in general don't really know how to talk to her or be around her because she's so big and so powerful. Or it could potentially have like a little bit of like an anti-hero kind of almost like self-loathing vibe to it. Like, yeah, I just don't know. Track 11, I Can Fix Him. No, really, I can. Okay. Taylor is me, I am Taylor. Taylor is every woman in this world, because this is a universal experience that we've all had. We have all been so fucking delusional at a point when we've been like, no, like, trust me, like, I can fix him. Even if you don't say it out loud, even if you like even don't consciously realise that's what you're doing, you're like, oh my god, but he will like change for me. Like, he won't. Like, you are not the exception. You will never learn your lesson. I don't really know what else to say about this song, except from I think it is going to raise collective consciousness and it is going to change the world. Track 12, LOML. So this at first impression, I feel like you're definitely like, oh, this is obviously love of my life. Like, that's what it like stands for. But, you know, Taylor is Trixie, so I feel like there's a reason why she's purposefully like abbreviated it like that and not just put like the whole words in. So it could mean love of my life, loss of my life, loser of my life, love of my lasagna of my life. It could be about Garfield, like, who really knows? I don't know. I suspect something like more different with this one. I truly have no notes on this one. Like, I actually just don't fucking know. Number 13, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. So world domination is clearly what she's talking about here, because I really feel like the year of 2023, it was the year of Taylor Swift. She became the main protagonist of the whole fucking world, and she did it all with a broken heart. And I think that is like what this song is going to be about. I can't possibly see anything else that this song can be about other than like the Eras tour and all the massive amounts of like success and career growth and personal growth that she has had in the past year, even though she had a broken heart. I suspect that this one is going to be a little bit like Long Live, but almost like a more mature, maybe like melancholic version of Long Live. And I do also feel like the fact that it comes in at track number 13 is definitely like a little nod to the fans as well. So I am I am excited for I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I think it might have like a sad feel to it, but I think it's going to be like the song that you probably need to hear if you're heartbroken and like you're needing to like get up and move on from that situation. So yeah, I can't wait for this one. I can't wait for any of them. Track 14, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. So two thoughts here. Either she's in her borrower era or she's making a dig at somebody here. Right away, it made me think of Your Integrity Makes Me Seem Small. So maybe it's about her feeling like the smallest man who ever lived. Or maybe it's like, you made me feel small. How small must you be to make me feel as small as that? I don't know. I think it is going to be like a metaphor for like a pathetic man is just what I'm thinking that it must be. I just can't think of anything else that it could possibly be unless, like I said, it is literally about the borrowers, which it could be. Track 15, The Alchemy. So alchemy is the process of trying to turn base metals into gold. So in a few songs, she does talk about Joe or her love with Joe being golden. So Taylor does this a lot and she references like relationships in her life as colours. Obviously, like we already know that. Like we already know that with like red. And in Daylight, she says, I once believed love would be burning red, but it's golden. And so obviously talking about like our relationship with Joe, and when we think of gold, we think of like very, like this special golden light. It's like beautiful, it's like healing, it's like all things wonderful. But I wonder, is this song going to talk about the illusion of taking something that is not gold and using alchemy to make it seem gold, even though it will never be true gold? I feel like that could be a real strong contender for what this song means. Like I think the way that she purposefully references like colour throughout her relationships and stuff is of course done very purposefully, and she might be seeing her relationship through a completely different lens now that it is over, and she might realise that this thing that she once thought was like golden or so special is not that anymore. Oh, even in Invisible String, she's like, one single thread of gold tied me to you as well. She might be seeing that as like the illusion bubble is burst and she is seeing it for what it is, and it is not golden. However, alchemy is also talked about in spiritual and magical circles about being a deep transformative process. So this would also make sense as well for Taylor, especially for like this last while that she's been through. In my other video that I did do on my other channel, we talk about her Scorpio rising sign and how a big part of Scorpio is this alchemy, where you take your pain and you transmute and transform that energy into something so great and so powerful, and you're like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And this is like a big part of like, I believe, like Taylor's personality because of her Scorpio rising. So this song could also touch on that as well. Maybe she will blend the two things together and talk about how realising that her love wasn't actually golden led to her having this deep transformative process. Who knows? Number 16, Clara Bow. So Clara Bow was an actress and an it girl of the 1920s. With her fame and success came a lot of gossip and criticism by the media, especially when it came to her romantic life. A lot of what was said about Clara Bow wasn't actually true, but the media still tore her down and scrutinised her because of her often brazen nature and taboo choices that she made. I think out of all of them, this is the song that I am most excited for. Like, I can't wait to see what she does with this song. I think it's going to be cathartic, I think it's going to be feminist, and I think it's going to have an altogether vibe of Last Great American Dynasty as well. I can't express to you how excited I am for this song. Clara Bow's own grandchildren said how Clara and Taylor are similar in style and red lip, but also how they both experienced such bullshit from the media. A quote here is, Clara faced that as well and rose above and had to block it out. Her tenacity to focus on her career was very similar to Taylor. And another quote is, I think Clara would feel the same kinship and protectiveness over someone who's of the same level of fame as her in dealing with the media and how heavy the crown is to carry. Yeah, I can't even deal with how excited I am with this. Also, Clara Bow was an actress in the silent era of films, which again, if we're talking about But Daddy I Love Him and losing like your voice and all of like the prison and being like trapped in, like kind of thoughts that we're having here as well, that could really tie into that as well. And I'm sure I heard somebody saying that Clara Bow was so she started in the silent movies and she was one of the only actresses who managed to successfully transition then into also like talking in movies in the talkies. So that is like a really interesting comparison to draw from them as well. Is she talking about how coming out of her like silent era and now she's in like her like bejeweled world domination era? Is that kind of where she's going with it? I feel like it might be. And then number 17, this is only available on the physical copy at first. I'm sure it will be on digital copy at some point as well, but not on April 19th. Special edition track 17 is the manuscript. So a manuscript is obviously a piece of work, like a song in its original copy, like before it's like published and printed. So what I'm expecting from this song is like really raw, really stripped back. I'm even almost wondering if it's actually going to be a song or if it's going to be like a poem with no music or very simple music. I would not be surprised if the manuscript was just Taylor speaking or Taylor singing live vocals. I am going to take a shot in the dark and say that I think it could potentially be either like a raw copy of like a song where it's just like completely just her, no production on it, no nothing, or it's going to be a poem. And I'm wondering if the lyrics that she, or the words that she posted, and so I enter into evidence my tarnished coat of arms, my muses acquired like bruises, my talisman and charms, the tick 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 of love bombs, my veins of pitch black ink, all's fair in love and poetry, sincerely the chairman of the tortured poets department. I wonder if that is lines from a poem that will be in the manuscript. That would just be my guess. Again, I could be wrong. We don't have that long to wait. We only have until the 19th of April to wait. So it is like, what date is this now? The 16th. We've got like just over a month to wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I am considering filming a reaction video to it. I think I'd be a little bit nervous to do that. I have wanted to do that with her previous albums, but I get a little bit in my head. Like I feel like I'm like a little bit awkward on camera sometimes. So if I feel confident enough, then I might do that. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And subscribe if you would like to see more. Again, if you would like to see the video I did on Taylor's sun, moon and rising sign, I will leave the link for that somewhere. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. So I've just stopped filming, checked my email and seen that Taylor has now released a CD with a special edition like bonus track called The Bolter. So I was thinking, right, of course, like this is like, it's given Prison Break, it's given Fuck England, it's given burn London to the ground, I'm fleeing, I'm out of there, I'm free. I was thinking no more to it, so like I like googled the bolter, and it says here that the bolter is a story of a woman who ran away to become the chief seductress of Kenya's scandalous Happy Valley set. So it is a book, and it says here, in an age of bolters, women who broke the rules and fled their marriages, Indina Sackville was the most celebrated of them all. Her relentless affairs and wild sex parties, brazen flaunting of convention shocked high society and inspired countless writers and artists. But her compelling charm masked the pain of betrayal and heartbreak. Taylor. Okay, I feel like after Clara Bow, I feel like this is shot to like my most anticipated one. Okay, I need to go now because I can't talk in front of people because that's embarrassing. I would rather kill myself. Bye.